committed a crime, and now I have to free you, kiss your hand, and apologise for the inconvenience. Your Grace.
I did tell you that Mr. Vogel and I were innocent. I emphasized it in my statement.
Your statement? Thanks to some bigwigs who work for the so-called good of the country by releasing fleas like you. Thank God we have Vogel in his letter. Once I get to that goldfish, I'll...
Bigwig? Oh, my wretched brother Mycroft and his long nose.
Wait, did you say Mycroft? Mycroft Holmes?
Yeah.
Are you the youngest son of Violet Holmes, rest her soul?
Yes.
You knew my mother?
Not personally, no. Not exactly. I was working on the paperwork for that case.
Would you happen to remember anything of the events?
Well, I didn't make the inquiry, but I remember seeing some notes. Why?
Well,
You must help me. It would mean a great deal to me if you could find any information about that day.
Huh. Got you hooked, right? You know what? Stark and the others think they're the smartest here, thanks to you. Let me get this straight. Are you listening to me, lad?
I'm all ears.
yes.
Take this case. Report to me only, to Constable Harvey Oswald. I'll leave everything I have on this table. Find the murderer. Be a real copper. Question the suspects, make them sing, give me something substantial.
And if Mr. Vogel is not a suspect?
If he's innocent, then you can take your favourite degenerate away from here. If you slip or mess with the evidence, then trust me, your brother won't save you from my bludgeon. Meanwhile, I'll be checking the archive for you. If anybody asks, then you're a consulting detective.
Let's make a start then, partner.
You better hop to
I'm
it.
glad we managed to get the scoop before the raid.
Indeed. Alright, what do we have here? Following a report from a witness of the satanic ritual who claimed to have found a body, the raid on the Manchio's mansion was granted. It resulted in the arrest of multiple suspects and dispersal of the group in masks and robes caught in acts of gross indecency and unnatural behavior. The body of the victim was found lying on an altar with a knife wound in his chest. The officers identified the victim, Fabio, 20, a local performer and artist. Arrested suspects, V. Vogel, who had a letter of an insulting nature in his possession which had been written by the victim. He claims to have found the body. He is infamous for his eccentric personality. And S. Holmes carried a murder weapon, a dagger with the victim's blood, and other items of evidence. He was invited by another suspect, Vogel, presumably to obstruct the official investigation. K. Manchios. Manchios, the owner of the mansion and organizer of the satanic party, paid the victim to participate in the ritual, had access to the crime scene. Batista, Fabio's partner and participant in the ritual, tried to escape, resisted arrest, owned a book with a description of the ritual performed in the altar room. Some of the guests are temporarily detained for further questioning. No sign of the Major Delmo.
Back on track to solve the case.
Key to the interrogation rooms. A witness deposition from Santos Panchetti. There he is. I am a witness who... Oh, interesting. So he saw the body and immediately ran to the police. Reports suspicion of murder at Manchio's mansion in Grand Surrey. During preparations for the social party, I heard loud noises from the closed altar room. Immediately I thought of the sacrifice of a living being overviewed by none other than Kurt Manchios. There was blood on the walls, strange symbols, and a dagger in the heart. As soon as I was able to think clearly, I rushed to the police station to report my findings. The station responded to the deposition by sending a patrol, while the witness left the station and went home. Fascinating. The provider of this ticket has permission to inspect all evidence on case number 62-60. There we go. Now we can have some privileged access. Can change clothes. Okay. That's alright.
Look, I found Werner.
Did you know? There he is.
Werner, are you alright?
Oh, yes. Everything's fine. In fact, it's something of a family reunion. My brother spent quite some time in this place himself.
You should not be here.
Oh yeah.
I told the police everything I knew, but they refused to let you go. They require proof to free you.
Ha! What did you expect? The mighty Sherlock Holmes swans in, tells the officers what to think, and the world obeys?
Of course not. Anyway, I struck a deal with the constable, and I've got a free hand in the investigation. I find proof to solve the case for him. He obtains files about my mother's death for me.
Well done. If one has the power or will and can act, then one must. I wonder, suppose you couldn't get the proof to your truth. Would you tell a lie to the guard that enabled my freedom, knowing my innocence? Would that not be just?
Well, let's just let's just hope that it won't come down to it, but
There are lines I will not cross, Werner. I will do my best to secure your release, but with proof, not deception.
Really? How many white lies have you told on this island? Why not for me? Why not another?
That is absurd. I can resolve this without compromises. Do not give up hope.
right. Let's not talk about lying to the police just yet.
I can't follow you here.
I don't think I can tell you anything about this.
I have learned who told the police about the crime. It was Santos Pinchetti,
Do I know him?
the major domo of the manor. He cleans up after you.
Well, then he does his job perfectly. All but invisible. I couldn't tell you the first thing about him.
Interesting. Alright. What do we have in the Mind Palace? The murderer cleaned their self. Pinchetti is a suspect who should be arrested and questioned. He had a key which he did not mention in his deposition. That's right, he didn't mention it. Interesting. Okay. So I need to tell Constable Oswald in the archives to question him as a suspect. Alright.
I know you can untangle this mess.
Gonna need to find Matista as well. Have a nice chat with her.
I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald. You are Matista, Fabio's friend.
This body, yes, it's Matista.
Um,
But it's a mere shell that will die someday. Just like Fabio.
I see.
Please accept my condolences for your friend.
Thank you.
I'm just here to ask questions and find Fabio's murderer.
It will not bring Fabio back.
Right. What do we have here? A primitive occult tattoo. She inks herself. Bitten nails. Nervous. Old and healing cuts. Self-inflicted. Huh. Shackle scars. Old and barely visible. Burn mark, inflicted with a branding iron. Blood-filled bruises, obtained recently. So, Matista, the The performer and Fabio's partner has had a difficult life. She was branded and enslaved while still a child. While enslaved, she met Fabio, hence their similar branding. Old scars are the result of her slavery during adolescence. She continues to be haunted by these traumatic experiences. Matissa seems to be pragmatic about her body after years of abuse. She sells herself to the guests, who do whatever they want to her. She's not afraid to step over the line, and she marks her body with ink.
You have both old and new scars. Some from the time when you were a slave with Fabio. Other scars have a different origin. The guests pay good money to torment you?
I am skilled in giving pleasure, but I don't participate in such practices.
I thought your body was...
For sale? It's true. Many unwanted things were done to my body. And the pain helped me to discover...
Occult deities? Yes, the tattoo speaks loudly of it.
Yes. Your gods abandoned me, and the ones I favor now are more protective of me.
How did you escape?
Something happened. One night the master fell down the stairs. I made him fall, and he died. We ran away that day. We managed to get on a ship and traveled here, to Gordona. Fabio and I started a new life here. It was very hard at first, but it became better with time. Until today.
And,
The bruises on your neck are not self-inflicted. Someone else made them.
Some guests can't contain themselves. They even bite, sometimes.
right, I see. Well, that'll be all for now. Who do we have here?
Good day, Mr. Manchios.
Oh,
I am Constable Oswald's partner in this investigation.
Be quick and gentle. Some of your colleagues are untrained boors. Although I don't mind meeting young officers. The new blood here.
If you cooperate in finding Fabio's murderer, there will be no need to meet with the Boers again.
That voice. Werner's friend? You're the policeman. What a disappointment.
Only an undercover agent can scour a ditch full of deviants. I am a consulting detective, although I'm capable of replacing the entire department through my consultations.
Sharp-tongued, I like it. May I presume this tongue will get us out of this trouble? I would be so indebted and glad to repay you.
Nothing's changed. I'm looking for the murderer. That's the only way to get us out of trouble.
But it shouldn't take much time, correct? We're all busy, after all.
I need to examine you first.
it all depends on you. Huh. Rouge. Where's makeup? Red spots, rash from exposure to hair dye. Soap under fingernails. Washed hands in a hurry. And, quality polished leather. Lavishly expensive. Extremely rich and frivolous, the organizer of the parties for Cordona's elite, and the owner of the Manchio's mansion. Spends his life in the company of similarly overprivileged people. Sure, let's go with this. However, Mr. Manchio's wishes to hide his true age from the younger participants of his parties. He is concerned with aging to the point where he uses makeup and hair dye to look younger.
You are a little over the top with your use of makeup, Mr. Manchios. Is it so difficult for you to acknowledge your age?
Well, Sherlock, that's easy for you to say to an old man when you look as though you are barely 15.
But still, it shouldn't be an issue for someone of your status.
For people of my age, it isn't an issue, no. But the younger ones can be so afraid of wrinkles and grey flecks. I have to adapt.
Such a methodical man who cares for his body but misses the soap under his fingernails. Are you so impatient, or perhaps even impulsive?
I wouldn't call myself that. Silly little details. If I missed it, it wasn't important. Or rather, it was less important than who or what I was focused on.
I see.
Mr. Vogel told me a little about your parties, but I would like to know more directly from you.
I'm all yours, Sherlock. You have me arrested and locked here, with you alone.
Yes, I see that. So,
I'd like to know who you usually invite to your parties.
Free minds who are able to leave reality for an evening, who can taste forbidden fruit without prejudice. There is nothing that quite spices up life like these parties, assuming one is old enough and has worked many years for the good of one's country.
Oh, all true labourers, I see.
and,
Why did you invite Mr. Vogel as your special guest?
He's a pretty fellow. He's capable of surprising the public. He has a talent for saying words that no one else would wish to either say or hear.
I suppose I can't argue with that.
He is a free addition to the eccentricity of the party, which is fine by me, as long as it enhances my party.
right.
What was Fabio like? His personality, his habits? Anything you can tell me?
He was the brightest star of my parties. Young, magnetic, and full of energy. I don't even want to mention his beauty. Otherwise, I'll be sobbing.
An expensive champion, I imagine.
His performances were flawless. He deserved his payment. Do you think he was murdered because of money?
Possibly. What about the other guests? Were they used to opening their wallets as well?
I wouldn't restrict my guests from anything. I'm sure Fabio received a few coins from others for his services.
What do you think about this?
I've no idea about that.
Alright, what do you think about this?
I've no idea about that.
About that?
That's not something I know much about.
What about this?
That's not something I know much about.
What about that?
That's not something I know much about.
What about this?
That's not something I know much about.
What about that?
I've no idea about that.
This?
That's not something I know much about.
This?
That's not something I know much about.
What about this?
You'd better ask someone else.
What about this?
You bought an expensive pair of cufflinks for Fabio. Were they his price? Or were they a tip for an exclusive show?
It was pure business. Fabio escorted me a few times. I was merely showing my gratitude.
This pair cost a small fortune. You must be extremely grateful then. Tell me more.
You've thrust a knife in an exposed nerve, Sherlock. Yes, he was my protégé and my beacon also. With my experience and his beauty, we could have achieved anything. I had faith in him. I would have made him.
Interesting.
You'd better ask someone else.
Do you have any idea who tipped off the police to raid your mansion, Mr. Manchios?
Of course. It was you. I could even say you Sherlocked me in here.
A good guess, but the wrong one.
I'm afraid not.
The fellow who did that was Mr. Pinchetti, your major domo.
What? Santos? But how could he even know? If he's not the murderer himself. The ungrateful
Right.
swine. He has dared to besmirch my reputation.
Not a very eloquent choice of words.
What should I call him then, since he's a snitch? Make him talk, Sherlock. I'm quite certain he knows more about the murder than he has told the police.
Maybe. Maybe you're right. Okay. No more of that. Can I change clothes? Thank you. Now that I'm not forced to wear this. Back to my regular, familiar getup. There we go.
I've nothing to say about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I've nothing to say about this. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I've nothing to say about this. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. I've nothing to say about this. I've nothing to say about this. I don't think I can tell you anything about this. You'd better ask me a question I know how to answer.
Alright, fine.
Have you considered Mr. Santos Pinchetti as a suspect?
The snitch? Have you seen him? I mean, my breath could knock him down. What's so special about him?
As a major domo, he has keys that open all the rooms, including the one to the crime scene. Could have testified only to circumvent suspicion, don't you think? We need to question him.
Right. I'll send our men to fetch him. Stay here.
Alright.
They brought him in, Mr. Holmes.
Oh.
Here's the key to interrogation room number 7. Mr. Pinchetti didn't even resist, our men said.
Thank you.
That's kind of him, I suppose. You alright there?
Don't look at them. They'll serve us if necessary.
Alright. Interrogation room number 7.
Mr. Pinchetti, a pleasure to meet you. I'm Sherlock Holmes. I'm helping Constable Oswald.
I've already told him everything I know. I'm only a witness, sir. Everything's in my report.
And I've read it. You forgot to mention that you hold the keys to the room where Fabio was found. I need only to find if the crime was intentional.
But I need to return to my duties.
I doubt the house will fall without you, Mr. Pinchetti. Just be still for a few seconds.
Got a couple questions for you. Let's see. Inflamed skin, psoriasis or allergy. Patched holes, repaired multiple times. Dyed textile, colored more than once. Blood splatter, stepped in blood. Is he just a terrible miser? Or he has financial difficulties? I mean, Manchio seems to be the kind of guy that pays his staff well, so I think that Santos Pinchetti is the head servant of the Manchio's mansion. Despite being employed at the highest position within the household, he appears to be poor. But in actuality, despite having enough money, Mr. Pinchetti spends as little of it as possible. Cheap makeup hiding imperfections on his body. In an attempt to look more modern, he dyes his suit on several occasions. To save even more money, the majordomo appears to have personally repaired multiple holes in the suit. How else can he explain it, right?
Is your greedy nature responsible for the lack of taste and attention to your appearance? The cheap makeup, shabby and dyed clothes? How do you explain those, Majordomo?
The means to practice my profession are limited. I'm sorry you noticed it, sir.
The parties overshadowed your state. You are lucky Kurt Manchios's attention was concentrated elsewhere. In a decent household, you would be asked to leave for far less.
Yes, his attention was undoubtedly concentrated on something other than my appearance.
But one detail stands out on your dirty rags and shoes. The drops of blood.
Oh, that. I don't know anything about it.
Interesting. Then I wonder how it got there.
Did you know Fabio?
Not personally. He was a frequent guest, and cleaning the mess after his performances was tedious. Mr. Manchios always had a role for him, and mainly the leading one. The parties were always Fabio-centric?
And Batista? Was she as popular as her partner?
Don't tell her I said this, but I do not think so. Mr. Manchios hired her only because Fabio refused to work without her. Mr. Manchios used to see her as a worker. She was tasked with entertaining the guests, unlike Fabio, who could pick and choose.
Right. Interesting.
Please let me out.
Not yet. Do I... Oh? Here we go.
I recognize the key from the altar room among these.
A small note attached to the will says, Santos, my hopeful slug, you begged me to include you in my will, so I did. Here's my latest revision of the will. Kurt. The text of the will under the notes. Santos Pinchetti, the majordomo of the Manchios mansion, receives a jar of mustache wax and a salt lamp that he might always remember his caring employer, Kurt Manchios. Huh. Know anything about that?
Mr. Manchios says that you begged him to be included in the heritage. Isn't that a little extreme, even for a majordomo?
He's not only my employer, he's my uncle.
Oh.
And I'm his next of kin. The only one. Mr. Manchios flatly refuses to pay a family member. All I have to do is repay his so-called love, cleaning up the filth after perverts and decadents. He's imprisoned me. The best I can hope for is a new broom. That's why I wanted to have my part of the inheritance.
Is it that bad? You have a roof above your head, a salary, and the status of a majordomo.
For God's sake. I'm forced to dye and stitch my threadbare clothes, and the holes in my shoes are painful. I'm ashamed every time a guest looks at me closely.
Why do you think your uncle treats you this way?
My mother, my uncle's sister, had me illegitimately. She died, and I was given the surname of one of the maids.
But you are entitled to some of the money that belongs to your family.
He thinks not. I was not responsible for my mother's death. I work hard, and he pays me nothing. I feed on the leftovers. While he wastes our estate's property on decadent parties, he paid Fabio handsomely and showered him with expensive gifts for their disgusting relationship.
Alright. Fascinating. I had no idea.
The air here is rather refreshing. I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
Is there evidence that I haven't found here?
I know I can handle the news.
Did anyone leave something here with them?
I've read the letter about your will. A harsh method of ridiculing Santos. I doubt he will use mustache wax when he wears no mustache to begin with.
Where did you get it? Is the slug here? Tell him I shouldn't have to provide for him. He's a grown man who shouldn't sit on his uncle's neck. He conceives himself as my only heir.
And who is he to you?
He's a leech on my aging body. He has only added problems to my life since the death of his mother.
I fail to see why you made him your majordomo.
He needed to know his place, so I taught him.
Huh. Fascinating. Well, now what? Evidence. Oh, isn't the evidence room like a separate thing? I think so. I think I remember seeing the evidence room. There we go.
Good day. Your ticket, please, if you want me to help you.
Yeah.
This is not a ticket. Don't waste my time.
Alright, fine. Where's the ticket? There you go.
I'd like to check the evidence from this case.
And who are you?
Oswald sent me. I'm a consulting detective.
His partner, then? Let me see. Ah, A ritual murder? What a bunch of degenerates. Wait a second, I'll bring it to the table.
Thanks. Oh. There we go. Oh, I can just pick and choose. Alright. Let's start from here.
An emergency kit for boredom.
Who does this belong to? Can't really... Oh, this is Vogel's stuff. The letter that was found in Vogel's evidence box. Is your mind unsound? You can't control your bitterness. Not around me, anyway. For me, it's too great a risk to ignore that kind of behavior. I can speak and play with anyone I choose. I'm not another Matista. You pay me, but you haven't bombed me. Of course, I'll keep all your generous donations, even though they hardly compensate for your last terrible outburst. I am leaving you, although Matista will still be around. Fabio.
Not the time for privacy.
Huh.
Werner's personal sketchbook.
Okay. This is Kurt Manchio's belongings. Some keys.
All the keys of the mansion on one golden ring.
Fascinating.
It's a miracle this ruby hasn't tempted anyone. A heavily perfumed handkerchief with the initials KM in the corner. A handcrafted charm that contains hair and nail clippings.
Huh. Whose hair and nails? I wonder.
Her key to the altar room.
Uh-huh. And, a book about the power of love.
That's not for bedtime reading. This Ex Libris belongs to Manchio's library.
Police found this occult book in Matisse's bag during the arrest. According to the Ex Libris, the tome was taken from Mr. Manchio's collection. It contains illustrations and descriptions of a ritual similar to the crime scene. Prepare the naked body of a recently deceased object of interest. Draw symbols of Mars and Venus to enhance the power you possess. To use the force of male and female nature. Pierce his heart with a golden dagger to be rid of the blood that does not love you. Draw a symbol representing your love. While waiting for the resurrection, recite the charm.
The book describes a ritual similar to the one performed in the altar room. Thank you, officer.
Oh dear. Okay. Alright. Some of our detainees have some explaining to do, I think. Starting with... starting with... you.
This book, The Power of Love, Blood and Mandrake, what do you hope to achieve?
To learn more about the invisible strengths that govern us. Occultism is real. The master who fell that night when Fabio and I escaped, I made him fall. I cast a spell on him and it worked.
Or was it a coincidence?
The universe is really so lazy.
If you say so.
If you say so.
I have nothing to add. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to add. I have nothing to say.
Huh. What else can I give?
I have nothing to add.
Key?
I have nothing to add. I don't know what to say. I have nothing to say.
This is the letter the police found in Mr. Vogel's pocket. Fabio wrote it. Do you know anything about it?
I don't. Although I can feel Fabio's energy. It's there, but it refuses to let me analyze it.
Interesting. So,
Do you practice occult rituals?
For protection? For fortune? To wash away the ugliness of the world? sometimes to survive. I have the gift, and I'm learning to use it better.
Did you use your gift on Fabio?
I only used white magic. Love charms lately. Fabio became so distant. I just wanted him to be with me, but I suppose I'm not as skilled as I thought.
I see.
Do you recognize this book? Could Matista have borrowed it from your library?
She didn't ask me. How ungrateful.
The things described in the book were inspiration for the rituals you performed?
Do you really believe that blood, symbols, and incantations can resurrect the dead?
No.
They are just eerie tales with a mix of occultism and voodoo. My rituals are a stage to show some of the forbidden pleasures.
Right.
I've read this letter from Fabio. It had no addressee, but it was found in Mr. Vogel's pocket.
Werner? Strange. I didn't think the two of them corresponded.
I'm sure there is some explanation. Would you care to read it?
Call me superstitious, but I don't care to read a letter from a dead man.
I see. Well, sue yourself. Werner?
I don't think I can tell you anything about this.
So, the police found a letter from Fabio in your pocket.
I cannot tell if it was truly in my pocket at all. Perhaps it was placed there later.
Well, that is one hypothesis. If it were true, then how did it get there?
No clue. But this night has been rather eccentric. Such a detail could have easily eluded me.
Indeed. Do you recall reading it?
I can't remember that either. But I tend to respect privacy. Reading others' personal notes is not one of my perversities.
Right. Well, I think we've managed to learn all we can, so it's time to figure this out. For real. There we go. Vogel is held because of the letter. Expensive gifts. Batista. Fresh bruises. Routine. Huh. Okay. Nothing for that. Pinchetti informed the police. Blood on Pinchetti's shoe. Fresh bruises. Activity. Suspiciously clean. Washing routine. Feelings for Fabio. Angry letter. Gifts. Power of love. Occult. Power of love. Feelings. Gifts. Letter. Okay. According to Santos Pinchetti, and by the consent of the letter, it may have been addressed to Kurt Manchios. Oh, okay. Now what? Fabio mentions gifts he would keep due to someone's temperament. Seems that Fabio wrote this angry letter to Manchios. Okay. Maybe we'll go back to him and see what he thinks.
There is undeniable evidence that you were the original recipient of this letter.
What are you talking about? Is it addressed to me?
Your protégé wanted a fresh start, it seems. This is sufficient to charge you.
Me? Hurt my star? Are you insane that you would accuse me of such a thing?
He did not consider himself as yours. Since you deny everything, let's move on. Do you have any idea as to how the letter could have ended up in Mr. Vogel's pocket?
You were the detective. Perhaps he took it from Fabio. Werner was a little high.
Let's go ask Werner then. Werner?
I have reason to believe that the intended recipient of the incriminating letter may have been Kurt Manchot.
Well, that makes sense. Too bad I can't remember how I came to possess it. Though I did spend quite some time with Mr. Manchios during the party.
Unfortunately, even with an answer, that may still not be enough to clear you with the police. But fear not, I will persevere.
I hope your attempt to put things straight will make up for...
You being on a bender?
touché.
Exactly.
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
Who else might know about this? You?
Could Fabio have written this letter to Kurt Manchos?
Oh. That could be. I never thought Mr. Manchios could make Fabio that angry, though.
What do you mean?
Well, Fabio wanted to disassociate from Mr. Manchios. Clients who are in love are both a blessing and a curse.
But Fabio was here tonight.
Money. In our line of work, we can't afford to turn down clients who pay as well as Kurt Manchios.
Was Fabio afraid of Mr. Manchos?
Not at all. The old toad wouldn't dare to do more than sweet talk and touching. Talk can be forgotten, and touching washed away.
Right. Who else can I talk to
Please let me out.
about this?
I can't wrap my head around such a tragedy at my party.
The air here is rather refreshing.
Who do I talk to?
I'd even recommend that some of my friends visit the place.
I talk to the constable? Uh-huh. Maybe.
This letter proves nothing. Fabio wrote it to Mr. Manchios. It's time to free Mr. Vogel.
Do you really think I'm that naive? I need proof, not words from his friend.
Very well. Mr. Pinchetti told me that Mr. Manchios was lavishing Fabio with expensive and eccentric gifts. The letter mentions rich rewards and attempts to buy Fabio with them. It was written to Mr. Manchios. Who else was showering Fabio with luxuries to buy him? It doesn't fit Mr. Vogel's character.
Look here. We had a deal. Give me the murderer and then take your friend with you. I won't budge otherwise.
Well, fine, but you're just wasting time.
Alright, if you say so. Looks like we're going back to the Mind Palace. I'll be right back. Alright, and we're back. Trying to figure out who sacrificed this lamb. Got a couple of new evidence. Either Vogel or Manchios is lying. Fabio was burning bridges with... Oh. Manchios had feelings for Fabio. Oh. Vogel is held because of the letter. Alright, here we go. So, Pinchetti has been forced to work for Kurt Manchios in the desperate hope of obtaining heritage, but it hasn't paid off. Matisse may have performed the ritual on Fabio to bring his love back. I mean, she admitted that, didn't she? She said she tried it because he's been getting distant and distant. Fabio shattered Kurt Manchios' feelings. Motives. So... Matisse was probably bruised by the guests. Pinchetti, I doubt he would resort to murder. I don't know how you can take a letter from someone's pockets into your own. So... Okay, let's say he slipped it. And, and I doubt Manchius murdered Fabio as well. So that clears him from that. And who killed Fabio? If Fabio bruised Matista, that means that the ritual wasn't a cover. And that Matista was afraid of Fabio's growing popularity and ambitions. She wanted to keep him with her for as long as possible, and in a last-ditch effort, she conducted a love ritual during which she killed Fabio. I doubt she would do it on purpose. What's the point of getting the love of a person who's dead? So I think that Matista is the product of a tormented life. She knows no difference between good and evil. She wanted her love, Fabio, to stay with her always. She deserves help. She needs to be treated and have a chance to get over her past in an asylum. This doesn't feel right, but out of all 4 suspects, I doubt it was Vogel. Well, I have 25% suspicion that it was Vogel. I've got like 35% suspicion that it was Manchios. I've got 40% suspicion that it was Pinchetti, and I've got like maybe 75%. 75%. I'm 75% sure that Matista killed him. She has the key. She has the way, the method. She has the book in the bag. She's the only one who would do it seriously. Manchios does the ritual just as a cover, not for real. So does Vogel. Yeah, I think the letter and all that, I think that's just red herring. Pinchetti ratting out his uncle to the cops, that's just a red herring. That's what I'm going with. I think Matista is the murderer. If you don't like it, well, you know, whatever. So where is she? There you are.
Matista, you killed Fabio during the ritual.
What? No! I could never.
Well, you could. You see,
Fabio was a rising star. Cordona already knew of him, and you were not as popular. Your duo was coming to an end. He would have left you, and you were afraid of that. Since you believe in your gift, you thought you could revive him after death. And that time, he would have stayed with you.
That is not true. I was afraid of him leaving me, but I would never have hurt him.
and the bruises?
You were there when Fabio was killed. He fought for his life and inflicted those bruises on your body, but you knocked him out eventually.
I was with the guests all the time. Manchios ordered me.
Manchios wasn't there. He wasn't looking at you the whole time. You could have slipped out.
You knocked out Fabio with a bottle. You locked the door and placed him on the altar. You cast spells and pushed a blade between his ribs. The blood from his wound was used to draw symbols across his body and the room itself. You wanted to use your gift to resurrect him, but he failed to wake up. So you cleaned yourself up and left the room, realizing the full scale of what you'd done.
That's just wrong. I didn't do it. You didn't see what happened.
Then tell me, what did happen?
I don't know. I wasn't there. You weren't either.
Yeah, anyway, so, we're gonna get you to an insane asylum. You better pack your things.
I can see that life hasn't been kind to you. Since childhood, you have been used and abused. The guests at the Manchios mansion are not that different. And even if you think you are in control, such a life takes a heavy toll regardless. The only good thing you had in your life was Fabio. You were so frightened of losing him that you killed him. I believe your only chance for a normal life is to receive medical help. Psychiatrists will help you.
Others have always decided what my life should be. And you're no different, Mr. Holmes.
That is your only option, Matista. I'm afraid you can't choose.
Farewell now. And, good luck. See you later. Alright. Well, that didn't feel good, but still, I still stand by my decision.
It was Matista, Fabio's friend. All the evidence points to her. It is sadly the result of her traumatic past. She requires medical help. There can be no good in executing a person who has such an illness.
She doesn't look sick to me.
That's why the professionals should handle it.
I suppose you're right. It's still good enough for my promotion. As for my part, not everything was in place. Perhaps some documents were transferred somewhere else, but I couldn't find a trace of them. Then I remembered. The discarded document drawers where we put the lost papers or the badly labelled ones. Including the crime scene report of Violet Holmes's case. Everything I've found is on the desk here. Take it.
Your persistence has saved me.
Yeah, well, we had a deal after all. Your friend is free then. You can leave.
Good luck, Constable.
Until next time. Report number 7-43. Officers arrived to find the deceased, identified as Mrs. Violet Holmes, lying in the garden of Stonewood Manor. Visual inspection showed the victim to be thoroughly soaked with a deep vertical incision, 2 inches in length, down her throat. Her face was swollen, covered in red blotches, likely cause of death, hypoxia. Awaiting confirmation from medical examiner. Main suspect, Otto Richter, arrested on the scene. Body was sent for autopsy.
Garden. There's a garden behind our manor. How could I forget? That's where it all happened, where it all went wrong.
Sherry, it looks like you've almost found what you wanted.
I certainly hope so. Oh. Alright. Well, it seems that they, whilst I was having my flashback, it seems that...
Oh, you did it, Sherlock!
Oh, there you
the
are.
Case is closed, and all rewards belong to the winner. Bravo!
Uh-huh.
It is merely the triumph of the truth.
Is it? No compromises? No lies? You're happy with your decisions?
Somewhat.
Whatever the truth, it had to be revealed. The victim deserved it.
Well, you seem confident in the value of your actions. I guess since I'm free, you were heard after all. By the way, did you get that precious information about your mother? Oh, not that you must.
Yes, I did.
Forgive my intrusion in such a personal matter. I simply worry I'm failing to be of much help to you.
Actually, you were. For some reason, all the archives on the case had disappeared. This was a rare opportunity to obtain the impossible.
Outrageous. Perhaps someone found the truth unpleasant. Society usually rejects those who speak with too much honesty, doesn't it?
A comfortable lie is often preferred to an uncomfortable truth. Still, I believe that the latter should prevail, and I cannot remain silent.
That's quixotism at its best. Your mere truth cannot defeat institutions, systems, and power. Etiquette, religion, marriage, they're all lies told to preserve connections, love, and sanity, and it's all corruptible.
Lies destroy human dignity. How could you make a free decision without any knowledge of the truth?
Are we really free to decide anything in this world, Sherlock?
I suppose.
I take your point. There are some limits on us all, some compromises we must make. Despite my best efforts, we cannot remain entirely objective.
I didn't want to sadden you, Sherlock, only to make you think beyond your boundaries. You're a walking contradiction, Sherlock. You refuse to lie to others, but constantly lie to yourself. How long until the train comes off the track? I cannot look away, but perhaps I should take a few steps back. You're an accident waiting to happen, dear. Until then, I shall bid you adieu.
Farewell, Mr. Vogel. Until next time. Back home again. Finally.
Oh, the best place for reading.
Now that we have some time for ourselves, let's examine the yard.
I imagine Goliath was surprised to find out his lady was not real.
Let's see what kind of memories we'll discover here. Oh.
My mother liked the story of David and Goliath. She said it doesn't matter how small you are, you can always overcome any obstacle.
Anything else? Well, we remember this guy, right? Oh, here we go. What's this? Wood, fight, competition.
Ah yes, we were sword fighting in this very spot.
And that time I was the winner.
So, as your victory prize, you asked me to fulfill a wish. I remember we did something the very next night, John, but what was it?
What was it, I wonder? Iron, big, bars.
We brought a cage with us. You insisted it must be made of iron.
That's because we were preparing to hunt fairies in our garden. Everyone knows iron is the only thing that can hold them.
And I was
Right.
distinctly uncomfortable.
Mother's disguise.
It was a disguise, of course. Fairies are easy to scare off, unless you're incognito.
And every trap needs bait.
Tasty, liquid, sweet.
We brought honey and a glass of warm milk.
After 2 hours lying in wait, we noticed movement in the bushes. The fairies appeared at last.
I sincerely doubt they did, John. Animal, pink, grunting.
No, it was just Isolde the pig. She was lured by the smell of honey and milk, and ate every last drop. Isolde belonged to Mr. Sim in Miner's End and escaped regularly. At least twice a month we would see him searching for her all over the island.
So, on one marvelous evening, John defeated me in a sword fight, a rare accomplishment. As his prize, he made me join him on a fairy hunt. I didn't share his enthusiasm, as I sometimes pretend not to believe in fairies, but he knew exactly what to do. We disguised ourselves, found an iron cage big enough to capture a sprite, and laid out warm milk and honey as bait. And it worked. 2 hours after 2 hours lying in wait, we spotted movement in the bushes. The fairies had appeared at last. Or that's what John thought. Alas, it was just Isolde the pig, who had caught a whiff of the milk and honey. She gobbled up every last drop, then fled as fast as she came. Isolde belonged to Mr. We know this. Why is this just... It's just... reiteration again. Alright. So that's the yard. Let's go inside and reminisce. Where do we go next? The bedroom. We did that. The main hall. Let's see what memories are here in the main hall. Got some books. Some stuff here. Up here, maybe? Ah, here we go. We used to...
We used to take a shortcut down the banisters, much to everyone's annoyance.
Oh yeah, what fun. They had to fix these handrails several times. I wouldn't try it now, Sherry. Tempting though it is.
Memories. Next is Mother's room. Let's pin it and then go to it.
Oh, the room looks nice now. It's comforting to see the way it was meant to be.
A little bit less of, well, there's still straps in here. That's not so comforting, but it's work in progress. Got it working. My mother always
preferred to spend her rare moments of lucidity with me.
That's true. She even stopped Mycroft from joining you. Remember?
I do. He didn't show it, but he was upset. I think Mother paid more attention to me because I was younger.
such as family. Alright. We're going through these pretty fast. Alright. Time to go through the Cabinet of Curiosities.
Now it looks exactly like it was a decade ago. I can almost feel the memories hitting me. What a monstrosity. Where could such a creature even survive?
Only somewhere in the darkest of... deepest of places. What else did I buy? I bought a dinosaur fossil. Is it here? What's that? What the hell is that? I also bought some strange jar. Which is somewhere around here.
One of the most ridiculous fakes I ever saw. Its owner insisted it was a polar bear. He thought the white paint on the brown fur wasn't noticeable.
Right. Holy Grail. Alright. Oh, there's the dinosaur bones over there at the top. Okay. I also bought an encyclopedia, but I don't know where that goes. Alright. These are the same memories again, aren't they? Cozy blanket. Yeah, we did those. What we gotta look for is here. Books sorted, wrong order.
Oh, I remember now. I never liked the way the books were sorted on these shelves.
That you didn't. Your brother often struggled to find his reading materials after our visits.
There we go.
When you're finished here, can we build a wigwam from the blankets? Like in the good old days?
No.
Some light reading for my spare time.
The encyclopedia, I guess. Is that it? We're done. Alright. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I've managed to do every single thing there is to do in Cordona. So now, it's time to finish this. Put an end to it. And visit the... visit the gazebo. Do I have to access it from inside? Right, I think I do. Alright. But I know where it is, so... I just have to go through the house to get to it. Should be right over here.
Sherry, please
What?
listen to me. Sherry.
What?
John, I always listen to you.
What's going
You
on?
don't have to do this.
Uh,
You don't have to go through. I don't know what is beyond this door, but I can feel it. Buzzing. angry like a fly at the window.
I know. I can sense it too.
You locked away this memory for a reason. There is only pain here.
Pain. And truth.
You do not need to suffer either. There is so much more we can do on Cordona, so many others we can help. There is no coming back from this.
Well, like I said, I think I've done all there is to do in Cordona, so...
John, my anima, my brother, there is nothing more important in this moment than this truth. I know you fear for me, but my path was set long ago. I can no more step off it than I can ask the avalanche to roll back uphill.
Just... please be careful, Sherry. I love you.
Quite. Come on,
I know you do.
we'll go together. Why didn't I remember we had such a big garden?
Maybe you forgot it for your own good.
Interesting. Alright. Where do we start?
That's the descendant of a tree your father planted in London, correct?
Indeed, we planted the sprout here, and for a while it grew happily. Alas, it seems without us here to care for it, it didn't survive.
Oh dear. Well, that's a shame.
Ah yes, the statue of Merope. My mother was trying to restore it. Pity she never had the opportunity to finish.
Alright. What else do we have here? Swing chair? Just like the one at the front yard. Table for two. Nice. Picnic basket. A bench. A pond. Alright, John?
Is that the raft we made together, John?
Looks more like a pile of rotten planks now.
Mother?
What was that? I thought it was a beehive or something. Mother? Mumsy?
That's from Mother's favorite tea set. What is it doing in here?
The hell? Hello? Mumsy? Hey, what's going on?
Sherry, hurry!
What is it?
These must help calm her down.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
I don't know.
What are you thinking about? Is everything all right?
What's this? This must be important somehow. Now what? Do I go back in, or? The answers to all my questions await. Hello?
Don't go, Mother, wait!
What's going on?
I remember this artifact from Mother's collection.
It's...
Mother's work journal. I liked poring over the detailed pages and reading about my parents' collection.
What? Oh! Not again. Hello?
Here it is. We'll just borrow it for a while.
Did you hear that? Someone's coming. Let's take a peek. You call this progress? Charlotte, amateur. I'm not letting you anywhere near my mother again.
Any result is progress, even if it is a worsening of her condition. It informs my...
No. I have made my decision. She must be sent to a legitimate medical facility. I will not let her hurt Sherlock.
What? Master Holmes, you do not understand.
That will be all. I expect you to have left the house by week's end.
Sherry, say something. Can you hear me? You're scaring me.
I'm waiting for you.
What?
Sherry, come here,
Yes?
darling.
Hold on a minute. I want to play in the sand.
I'm waiting for you.
Oh. Why are
Coming,
you
Mother.
in a wheelchair?
This was for my mother, wasn't it? I remember how we came to the garden for a breath of fresh air.
Take me to my flowers, Sherry. They must already be in bloom.
As you wish, Mum. I bet you missed the fresh air, didn't you?
Terribly. The sun is far brighter than I remember. But I like it.
We can walk each day from now on, if you want.
That would be wonderful. Just look at them.
Oh.
The stars of the earth. Even the sky must be jealous of their beauty.
Indeed.
This tree? Oh. Up there, you mean? Yeah, it's nice, I guess.
Mother, would you like to go around the water?
That would be perfect. I always wanted such a nice pond in London. It looks so peaceful.
Mycroft knew you would like it.
We should put some fish in it, don't you think?
How about some carp?
That's a nice idea.
Yeah. Love to see the little fishies swimming around in the pond. That would be nice.
Let's visit your father's tree. It grows so fast, just like you.
We could even build a tree house in it.
Yes, Sherry.
Is that it over there?
Speaking of your father, could you call him out, please?
Mom!
He's...
I'm sorry. He passed away. He's gone.
No, he's not.
I'm telling the truth. Did you forget again?
No, don't you dare say such things. You are a liar like all the others.
Mother!
Don't call me that. You aren't fooling me.
No! Mom, it hurts!
My son would never lie.
Mom, stop!
Who are you? Reveal yourself!
Please, stop! It's me, Sherlock!
You are not my Sherry! Get me my stuff back or I'll kill you!
I think I understand now. We brought tea. And the mental disease, the hysteria, the experiments, and the hypoxia. After Mycroft caught Otto Richter, he blamed him for our mother's death. Mycroft did not like the methods of Dr. Otto Richter and did not trust him. While there are no records about my mother's death, we had a family friend on Cordona. He may know something. Mycroft hid the truth about the death of our mother and lied when he told me that she died of tuberculosis. My mother's struggles with mental disease could well be hereditary and affect my mind and rationality. My mother tried to drown me in the pond at Stonewood Manor. Dr. Richter experimented on my mother with unconventional drugs and treatments. Every dose had a risk of side effects. The slit on my mother's throat was an attempted tracheotomy. It makes no sense to do this if she was drowning. My mother had an unexpected allergic reaction to her medication and suffocated. My mother died from an allergic reaction after we gave her sedatives with her morning tea. Otto Richter tried to save Violet, yet Mycroft deliberately blamed him for her death, despite John and I being responsible. I am responsible for my mother's death. It was my idea to give her medication, which caused the allergic reaction that killed her. It's my guilt. Mycroft hid the truth to protect me.
Sherlock. Sherlock. Can you hear me? Come on, wake up.
Get off me. Sherry, you knew, and more than that, you hid it from me.
You couldn't bear the truth, Sherlock, so I shouldered it for you. I took your pain, your horror.
I killed my own mother, John. It is unforgivable.
It was an accident, Sherlock. She was mad, abusive. You were a child, simply trying to help.
How could she? You were a lie, John. A fiction. A crutch.
No, I was a friend. Sherlock, please.
Sherlock?
What?
Are you okay?
I don't know.
I told you not to come, Sherlock. Where is he?
Who?
Your friend, John.
He's beside you.
It's right there.
Was all this worth it? Is he worth it?
Why is he here?
I think, in his own way, he was trying to protect me. From a truth I couldn't bear. But now I must face it. There is only one thing to be done.
What are you talking about?
To expect adherence to the principles of truth and justice, but to fail to hold oneself likewise accountable, it would be hypocrisy. My mother died by my hand. I must turn myself into the authorities and face the consequences of my actions.
The consequences of your actions? You were a child. She did this to you, not you unto her. You are throwing your life away in an act of moralistic vanity. Think of all you could accomplish for our nation.
This is where we differ, Mycroft. To you, the ends justify the means. To me, the means have decided the end. The truth is the truth.
Fine, Sherlock. Walk yourself into the police station and pray those men you oft embarrassed hold no grudges. If you're lucky, they'll simply exile you. If not, I'll see you in 20 years.
Are you going to berate me too? Try and talk me out of it? As I told my brother, if I cannot demonstrate the character I chastise others for lacking.
Sherry, I think this is something you will have to do yourself.
Myself?
What do you mean?
All I ever did, all I ever wanted, was to protect you from what happened. And now you tell me I was wrong to try, that it was ego or hypocrisy to show a young boy kindness. But it was just empathy, creativity, and love for one's self. So please, please, Sherlock, don't do it.
Why can none of you see it? The truth is the truth. A murder is a murder. Tell me, John, why?
Because you're breaking my heart. I know you've decided. I know. I just wish you hadn't.
I'm sorry, John. All these years we spent together, all the time I took for granted. You'll always be a part of me.
No, Sherry. That's the point. I don't think I will.
Why are you here?
Closure, I suppose. And to help a friend.
You and I are not friends. In a race between the thawing of the ice caps and our friendship, I would buy a boat.
Ha! Is that right?
I can see it now. I know what you did.
What did I do?
You needled me. From the moment we met, you were searching for weakness. You pushed me to pursue the truth about my mother. You questioned everything I did, everything I believed, to break me. To blur truth and fiction, reality, morality. A saboteur in silk. Was it vengeance, Werner? Or do you prefer Klaus?
Excuse me?
You are Klaus Richter, Otto's younger brother. Do you hold me responsible for his end?
Ha! There was no love lost between me and my brother. I am sure you can relate. Otto was merely the gravity that pulled me into your orbit. Or you into mine. Once I met you, I could not keep away.
Why? What reason do you have for all this?
To help you.
You're lying.
To show you that you were wrong.
More lies. I know you now, Werner. Try again.
To see what had happened. Or is that yet another untruth? Does it matter? Take your pick. Who cares? You're my masterpiece. I turned Sisyphus into Ozymandias. You could not see the futility of your quest until I helped you to let go of the rock. And now, nothing beside remains.
I remain. Despite you and to spite you.
It is a matter of will and power now. Will you overcome this, or shall you decay? Oh, on that note, I brought you something.
I want nothing more from you.
When one wants for nothing, Sherlock, the best thing to get them is something personal. So, here you are. Now, please excuse me, but the gallery calls. I'm already conceiving my next project. You really are beautiful.
I was prepared to take responsibility for my actions, but again my brother conspired against me. A little diplomatic pressure and the trial was dismissed. Instead, I was exiled from Cordona. Freedom never tasted so bitter. Another perversion of justice at Mycroft's hand. With no means, no home, and no purpose, I returned to London. I enrolled at Cambridge University, but few lectures held my interest. I prefer to spend time alone at the hospital laboratory, pursuing truths in chemical form. No one there questions my choices. I have begun to attract a desperate clientele, men that skulk after me pleading for answers to their simple mysteries. At first, the distraction was unwelcome. Now, I find myself craving it, lest my mind drift back to the island. To Mother. To John. What was her life worth? How many adulterers and petty thieves will it take to make it right? Can anything? I found it! I found it!
And what is that?
How far, bruises may be produced after death. How are you? You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive.
How on earth did you know that?
Never mind. The question now is about bruising. No doubt you see the significance of this discovery of mine.
It is interesting, no doubt, but practically...
Why, it is the most practical medico-legal discovery for years. Had we these data sooner, hundreds of men would have paid the penalty for their crimes. Cases oft hinge upon how a man died. Now, we can know which wounds he suffered alive, which occurred post-mortem, and what instrument was responsible. And ergo, one will soon be able to calculate with utmost precision when and where death occurred, sparing the innocent and damning the guilty.
Well, then you are to be congratulated.
Indeed. But, you came here on business.
Correct again. I am looking for someone with whom to take diggings, and heard you were complaining that you could get no one to go halves with you.
I have my eye on a suite in Baker Street, which would suit us down to the ground. You don't mind the smell of strong tobacco, I hope?
I smoke ships myself.
That's good enough. I get in the dumps at times, and don't open my mouth for days on end. Just let me alone, and I'll soon be right. What have you to confess now? It's best for two fellows to know what bruises each other carries before they begin to live together. My last companion and I...
Well, I object to rows because my nerves are shaken, and I get up at all sorts of ungodly hours, and I am extremely lazy. I have another set of vices when I'm well, but those are the principal ones at present.
Do you include violin playing in your category for rout?
It depends on the player. A well-played violin is a treat for the gods. A badly played one.
Oh, no, that's all right. I think we may consider the thing as settled. Oh, forgive my manners. My attention wavers. Sherlock Holmes.
Dr. John Watson.
John.